the fact that the personal self was now at the bottom of the hill suggested a diminished perspective, and made more so by assuming attitudes, applying emotional considerations to this situation, and thus a self-decided diminishing of its awareness, a descent back to the bottom of the hill just conquered. My real self remained at the top of this particular hill, as it stands in the true reality of the all is now, a true reality waiting to be recognized through it, as the personal self goes through its process. The agitators would disappear after a while, probably getting bored, or perhaps not having the effect they had hoped for, as our group was maintained despite their efforts. One of the new friends told me to get my personal self under control, as it was still ranting, and so I would rein it in and settle it down, and experience a merging of the personal self with my real self, as the personal self got back with the program, and both now were back on top of the hill with the others. It's always imperative to get the personal self and all the various bodies of it under control and focused on the reason it was constructed in the first place, to connect with the real self and the is, to decide to become more aware through the personal self and recognize the is from the comparative position that creation provides. One more event would befool us. As we sat on our hill, two enormous aliens entered the scene. They were easily as tall as the hill, and so approximately 300 feet or so in height, and with the steepness of the hill, it being nearly vertical, we were face to face with these aliens. They seemed to be in the form of the aliens known as Greys, but it was as though they were made of soft material, like cuddly toy grey aliens. I would suggest they were disguising their real intentions, concealing their real identities, and so the personal self may well have been fooled, and then agreements could be trolled. Without the real awareness and ability to discern deception that it provides, perhaps we may have seen these beings as simply greys, but here we saw them in the form of cuddly toy greys. Our real awareness was able to see the flaws in their disguises, flaws that the personal self wouldn't have seen, as we were able to perceive these aliens as beings dressed in these fake cuddly toy grey alien exteriors, and they would even grin at us and reveal huge sharp teeth, so very much wolves in sheep's clothing, and they absolutely exuded evil intent and malice. So these surely were not just grey aliens. There was some other species hidden beneath the surface that they were presenting themselves as, that only could be discerned through our real awareness. As we sat there, it was as though we had a group impression that these beings had been abducting some of the new friends and myself before any of us had come across and found the new presentation. That we may have had no personal self-recollection of abduction up until this point isn't uncommon, as the alien abductors can blank the memory of such events. But again, the real awareness knows all the happenings in creation, and knows of its various lifetimes and experiences, regardless of sneaky memory erasing techniques. And our real awareness was affording us this information to the personal self now, with real awareness connection and the protection of the guides. It's likely such abductions would have ceased once the decision to connect with the ears was made through the New You song. But always we decide everything in our experience, and often unsavoury situations such as this can occur due to our subconscious and even conscious agreement to it. Often the guides may let such experiences play out to demonstrate that we must also be more responsible with what we agree to and bring into our experiences. These beings may well have been reptilian Orions in disguise, as their stature of 300 feet or so would be atypical of the size of this species, and they certainly boasted a very daunting set of razor-sharp teeth. We all had the impression that due to our previous abductions by these aliens, and even with the connection we now had with our real awareness, there were still some underlying unconscious, subconscious agreements that would make these two aliens hard to deal with, agreements that had allowed the abductions in the first place, and still a lingering subconscious, unresolved agreement that made these aliens a menace. And perhaps reaching the top of this particular hill demonstrated a step in the process of awareness, and so, at this position of being more aware, these prior abductions became apparent to us. But regardless, this was a situation we couldn't handle at this moment, due to the complication of various facets and intertwined agreements that may yet perhaps need releasing. Consequently, we wouldn't be battling these aliens as we had the spiders. Instead, we elected to teleport to safety. One by one, we ported from this hill as these aliens came for us. One of them opened its razor-sharp, teeth-filled mouth wide to consume me, just as I activated my own teleport and was removed from harm's way. Maybe a final demonstration of how any agreement, any idea, will not only facilitate the presence of situations we'd rather not have, but that a single idea, regardless of what it is, if agreed with, can consume us, can absorb us back into creation, as the alien opened its mouth wide to consume me, to demonstrate just this.
Okay, wow, Kevin. Another Kevin movie, another Kevin scary movie, but it's terrific, Kevin. It really shows a lot, and it's And I'm going to go over it a little bit. There's many views on this, but no, it's just very, very good. People should take heed of this. That is the spiders in the beginning. You notice they were taken care of in a particular way. Well, they were robots. And we do use technology here. And so the first part of the sort of journey or process took place kind of like, you know, as we go through high school, our parents, if we want to go to college, they will back us. They will, you know, pay for our tuition. But that's the easy part. But they've earned their way to pay the tuition. Now we have to earn our way by attending the classes, perform, and getting through the course, don't we? So as you went on this journey here, this aspect, and included it, yes, at a certain point. And so the old idea is heights, up and down, this and that. Like Paul created the God worlds chart, but actually it was all literal. Okay, it was for the literal mind only, because most people couldn't see past that, because it's all about seeing. So at a certain point, you reach the top, and then you could see, okay, what was going on with these aliens and what they're doing. You could more so see it. And also, you weren't agreeing to it. And yes, of course, you have to deal with them, and this is what we're dealing with on many levels here. And we do have some agreement, but that's all about agreement. To where the robot spiders, that was easy because that's technology, you just turn them off. But there is free will, and there must be free will in creation. And if people want to agree to the reptilians and the dark horses and put up fronts that look good, etc., well, they have the right to do that. All we can do is present something that's more possible and more real, that's far too real for most people. So this becomes the next step. But how you've described that and brought that through is just terrific, Kevin. It's really, really a good lesson. Most people won't see that, but it's very, very real. They'll just go back to their surface world and pretend as to what they're seeing and what they're agreeing to with their personal self. But yes, thank you. Very, very good.